Hey gang, and welcome back to another episode of Design to Move. My name is Ryan Maxwell, and today we're going to go into your suboccipitals. If you like the information and you want more every week, don't forget to subscribe. And if you have questions, post them down below. Remember, we post our website down there. It's fluidfitnessandnutrition.com. Let's get right into it. So these are the little muscles that attach your skull to your first two vertebrae, and they help to extend the neck behind you. These are often overused because we have that upper cross syndrome going on where your head jets out in front of you, and because of which they become overused and they feed neural system information down the kinetic chain in the wrong way. That's why today we're going to show you how to use self-palpation, just your fingertips, to help release the tension in these muscles, lengthen them, strengthen the overactive muscle groups, and then integrate it into a strength profile that's going to help with your posture and your overall strength. Okay, so we're going to start with the fascial release of the suboccipitals. These are the little muscles that attach your skull down to the first two vertebrae. You're going to use your fingertips for this. So to identify the muscle, you first find that little protuberance right on the ridge of your skull. Adjacent to that is where the muscles attach, and they come down at a triangle down to the first two vertebrae. From there, you're going to push your fingertips into the muscle. So with the chin braced down, giving yourself a double chin, you're going to actually be lengthening through those suboccipitals, and you're going to tilt to the side. You're going to want to hold this for about a minute and a half. So after about 30 seconds, you're going to start tilting your head down and then rotating it to the left. I'm working on the right side of the body. This is going to floss the muscle under the pressure of my fingertips and help to release it. Make sure that as you tilt your head down and rotate it, that you breathe out with the length. And that's going to encourage the muscle to want to lengthen and get more flexion out of the neck. After you're done, we're going to go right into our stretch. Okay, so now that we've released the muscle, we want to stretch it. We're working on the right side. Remember, you're going to want to do both sides of the body. To get an effective stretch, you're going to want to tuck your chin down and under so that the muscles stretch from the base of the skull down to the vertebrae. From there, you're going to look down, breathe out, and you can actually use your hand to assist with that downward flexion with a slight lateral tilt and rotation to the left side. Hold it there and use your breathing to help let the muscle go. So what's important to focus on this one is that the chin gets tucked down, and then you create a downward look as you pull the head down towards the ground. Subtle pressure from the palm and a little traction on the way down. Breathe out, and as you breathe out, see if you can get the head to tuck even deeper. Holding the stretch for a minute, minute and a half is what it's going to take to get the muscle to relax and release. And then you can move on to the other side. So remember gang, these muscles are responsible for contributing to that forward head posture where the neck jets out. We see this a lot in populations because we're always on a phone behind a computer, so we want to release that tension. Because these are the muscles that originate at the base of the skull and come down, they're little finite muscle groups that tell the big guys what to do. So the sternocleidomastoids, the traps, all of those take the direction from that pathway through the little occipitals. So we really want to go in there, release the tension, make sure to get the length out of them before we go into the strength protocol. Make sure to stay after it. So now we're doing an isolated strength of the deep cervical flexors, the capitis and chole muscles. These are the muscles that depress the head back and lengthen through the cervical spine. We're going to get on all fours to do that. Okay, so let's all get down on the floor. We're gonna do a 4-point stance with our palms under our shoulders and our knees under our hips. From there, everything is braced and the shoulders are nice and stable. You're gonna let your head drop down close to the ground, extending through the lower back or the upper back, and then you're gonna pull your chin up, giving yourself a double chin, and pull your head up in line with your trunk or your midsection. You're gonna do a 2 count down and a 2 count up. These are working those deep cervical flexors that oppose those suboccipital muscles. So because those cervical extensor muscles get so strong or so dominant, these deep cervical flexors, they get really weak. So we're going to want to spend some quality time getting these stronger. Try not to rush this movement and try not to let those extensors kick in. If you pull back too far, you'll notice that the shoulders are going to want to shrug and your head's going to want to jerk back up. Don't let it happen. And we're gonna do this for about a minute to a minute and a half. Take your time and really work on stabilizing the head in line with your trunk. So by training these deep cervical flexors, you're gonna help to keep your body's posture so that your head is centered right over your rib cage. That's gonna help to send the right neural signaling down the body so that your muscles move in the right order. You can do 2 to 3 sets of about 20 repetitions, and it's gonna take about a minute and a half to 2 minutes on each one of those sets to really effectively fatigue, overload, and strengthen the muscle groups. Stay at it. So the reason why we have that dysfunction in the neck in the first place is because we often have internally rotated shoulders. This internal rotation pulls our shoulder blades forward so that they start to rotate downwardly, and that pulls on the muscles that attach up into our neck. Those muscles then crank our head back so that our neck goes into excessive extension. That really lines up those suboccipitals to overwork, and then it turns off the deep cervical flexors. Because of which, we're going to want to work the muscles that depress and retract the shoulders down and back so that they don't have that anterior influence that pulls everything out of alignment. So the next movement that we're going to want to incorporate is a muscle that targets the muscles that pull the shoulder blades down and back. That's going to be your rhomboids and your anterior serratus. To get into the position, you're going to lock your shoulders back, pull your arms behind you, and retract the shoulder blades down and back so that they don't protract or shrug. Make sure to keep your chin tucked down and in. So as we get into this position, notice that I'm retracting my shoulder blades back first before my arms move. The lower portion of my arm, the humerus, is rotating back with the shoulder blade as I pull them down and back. The inferior angle of the scapula is being pulled back, but not so far that it starts to shrug or that my shoulder blades start to shrug and pull up. That's going to be the focus and range of motion that we go through. So you'll notice the muscles that we're trying to target right here, they're the little muscles that attach your scapula to your rib cage, and we're lengthening them slowly to account of 4, letting the shoulders rotate forward and protract, and then we're deliberately opening and pulling them back to a count of 1 or 2. I'd like you to do 2 sets of 20 repetitions. It should take you about 2 minutes to get through all of them, and then move on to your next exercise. Okay, so we released all the tension behind the neck. We've activated those deep flexors that pull our chin back over our rib cage. We even pulled our shoulder blades back and got them stable. What's next? Well, now we want to integrate it into a functional movement. I want to add all the pieces together. That means I want to keep my neck centered over my trunk. I want to learn how to stabilize my shoulder blades through movement. Only by incorporating this into functional movement does it apply to our everyday life and keep the position set for the long haul. So now to put it all together, we got to get into a position that's going to work all these muscles collectively. You're going to tip your body weight down towards the ground so that your weight is centered right over your heels. Tuck your head back in and center your head right in line with your trunk, and then you're going to draw your shoulder blades back, keeping them nice and packed back the entire time. So with those shoulders drawn back, you're going to lift your arms out at diagonal with your thumbs pointed up to the ceiling. As you do that, you're only going to lift the arms up so high that your shoulders don't want to shrug. So make sure to glide the arms up and pull the shoulders down and towards the center of your spine, making sure not to let your chin jet out or start to move through the neck the entire time. So the act of drawing your arm up is actually recruiting the muscles that are there to help stabilize and rotate the scapula downward as you lift your arms. Now, if we go too far and we have upper trap dominance or extensor dominance, the arms are going to start to shrug up and internally rotate. So the goal here, the focus, is to only lift the arms so high that you're able to maintain that depression and retraction and use that as your focused range of motion. Once again, you're going to want to complete 2 sets of about 20 repetitions with a 4 count opening to a 1 count down, because of which it should take you about 2 minutes for each set and give yourself about 45 seconds in between to recover. Make sure that as you lift the arms up, you breathe in and then breathe out as you come back down. So that brought us to the end of the whole protocol. Remember, you're going to want to do both sides of the body. Lengthen the occipitals on both sides, left and right. Then go into the strength protocols for the activation, strength, and integration. If you have any questions on what we did today or you need an outline of what was accomplished, I've posted it down in the description. Remember, get your head back, get the deep cervical flexors turned on, get your shoulders drawn back. Your body was designed to move, so stay after it, and we'll see you next time. Fluid Health and Fitness posts information weekly, so don't forget to subscribe. We have our next video posted down below, so check that out. If you have questions, post them down below in the comment sections.